Things will go wrong because everything can't be good, everything can't be glamorous, everything can't go good. When things go wrong, you will get frustrated. When things don't go your way, you will be frustrated. When things that you are expecting to go your way don't go your way, you will be frustrated. And see, when you get frustrated, what do you do with this energy? What do you do with this feeling? What do you do with this moment that you are in? Because when life is not working in your favor, how do you make life work in your favor so you can control the frustration? See, frustration comes, but it doesn't have to stay. And when it comes, you can make it leave just by changing the way you look at things. Things will go bad because it's just life. When there's good, there's bad. When there's bad, there's good. Many people, majority of people in the world just focus on the bad because they're not worried about the good so much. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Failure is Knowledge Podcast. Here at Failure is Knowledge Podcast, we're speaking about personal development, marketing strategies, and podcasting tips. Today, we're speaking about marketing strategies and the importance of recognizing when things go bad. So if this is your first time here, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, and if you listen to this, make sure you follow the podcast so that way you can get more episodes up to date. So the reason why this topic came about, the reason why we're speaking about this topic today is because frustration is a thing, and it's a thing because we have to pay attention to it. So let me go ahead and write it on the board. Let me go ahead and prepare everything for today's episode, because today's episode is going to be so powerful. So I'm about to go ahead and write it on the board, and as I'm writing it on the board, I'm going to put bad things happen. Bad things come. Wait, what I say? Bad things happen too. Yeah. Happen as well. Let's put as well. There we go. Bad things happen as well. I think also is better. Hold on. Also is better. There we go. Okay. Also, there we go. So, today is the day, Jesus Christ. So listen. So, I've been on this journey for half a decade, and I've been learning about what I would like to do and why I'm doing a particular way. And what I didn't recognize is that when I started, I was going to have to learn a lot of different things, a lot of different information, a lot of different skills, a lot of different knowledge that I wasn't prepared to learn. And as I continued to learn and develop and grow and recognize what this information even was, it became overwhelming. It became frustration. I became frustrated, and it appeared to be a lot. And so as I'm learning everything, as I'm growing through life, and as I'm going through different moments, I'm recognizing that these moments is preparing me for the knowledge that's yet to come. But in order to be prepared for the knowledge, I have to be doing things to understand that when knowledge and information gets presented, what do I do with that? What am I doing with that? And when I have to recognize and learn that I have to be willing to do things when I don't fully understand what I'm doing, so that way when I get to a point I understand of how I'm doing it, I can do it more often. And it's the beginning phase that stops a lot of people. It's the beginning phase that I was struggling with. It's the beginning phase that was so overwhelming because I was frustrated a lot. I remember one time when I came home from work when I was in the Marine Corps, I went upstairs and I automatically sat down, pulled out my phone, and I started recording. I start talking, I start making videos. And when I start making videos, I'm like, this is hard. This is challenging. Why is it so hard just to talk to a camera? Why is it so hard to bring value? Why is it so hard to find yourself? I'm asking myself these questions like, why is it so hard? Well, it's hard because you have to learn how to do it. And so when I was learning what I was doing, how to go about doing it more often, it's like, man, it's going to be challenging. Man, it's going to be frustrated. Man, it's going to be frustration. I'm going to be frustrated, okay? And even though I'm frustrated, it doesn't mean I can't find the answers to the problem. It doesn't mean I can't recognize what the solution can be. So the first point I want to hit on is that when bad things come, learn from the bad moments. So that's the first point. Learn from the bad moments. Learn from the bad moments. If everything was good and sunshine, if everything was good and great, if everything was just amazing, there wouldn't be no growth there because you have to go through things to learn more about yourself. I was watching this video with Jim Rohn, and he says that if you want to work on yourself, if you want to, no, what did he say? No, Jim Rohn said in the video that when you go to work, it's harder to work on yourself than work on your job, because when you work on yourself, you actually have to decide to work on yourself. And when he mentioned that, I'm like, man, this man is really smart. And he proceeds to share a story that when he was 25 years old, he started working for his mentor named Mr. Schoaf. And when he was working with him, he asked him, he was like, what goals do you have for yourself? Like, what goals are you accomplishing for yourself at this moment? And on his list, he had everything that was negative and nothing positive. He had everything that was negative and nothing positive, and this led him to have a bad day, a bad moment, and a bad week. See, because he was paying attention to the bad things. The bad things was happening, but he wasn't necessarily learning from the bad things. The reason why this is so important, because when bad things come, how do you learn from this moment? How do you grow from this situation? How do you evolve from something that's bad? Today, I'm learning how to be frustrated so I can learn how to be unfrustrated. Let me tell you why. Because when you learn a skill and you think you know what you're doing, there's going to be some problems that come. There's going to be some situation that arises because you don't know what to expect. When I started this journey a half a decade ago, I didn't know what to expect. In fact, I didn't even know I would be here today because I just picked up my phone and I started and I recorded and I produced. And I learned more about myself. And one time I was speaking to this older gentleman, and he said people who learn from their own mistakes are fools. People who learn from other people's mistakes are wise. I'm like, what you mean by that? He said people have been through what you are going through, and then when you get around people that's been through what you're going through, you can grow through what you're going through. Because life shows you that the bad moments is just a time. It's just for a moment. It's not the end of the world. It's not the entire of the world. What happens is that one bad thing happens, and it come across, and it lowers our energy, and it removes what we are working on. Because we start paying attention to things that's not working. We start paying attention to things that's bad. To learn from bad moments, you have to recognize what the moments are that you are learning from. And even though you can learn from this moment, what do you do with the moment? How do you seize the opportunity? How do you seize this growth? How do you seize this chance to be better? See, I have to learn to be better. You have to be willing to get up every single day to do the work. It doesn't matter if you have a bad moment. It doesn't matter if you have a good moment. It doesn't matter. You have to continue to show up. When I played football, one thing that my coaches used to always say, they used to say, focus on the next play. Don't focus on a play that just happened. If it was a good play, if it was a touchdown, if it was a recovered fumble, if it was an interception, don't focus on the last play. Even if it was bad, if you missed the tackle, if you got overran, if you didn't do your assignment, focus on the next play. Because if you focus on what just happened, the next play is gonna leave you, because the next play is gonna have you remembering just like the last play. But what makes it so challenging is that you have to force yourself to learn from the bad. The bad is not gonna always be good, but the good can become bad. Reason being is because you have to learn from bad moments. You grow when you are at your lowest, because at your lowest point, you force yourself to get back up. You force yourself to be motivated. You force yourself to do the work. Because to do the work, you have to know that you are working towards something. To do the work, you have to know when you are working towards something, you're working for yourself. Because you're improving yourself. You are improving yourself. And you can't improve yourself if you don't learn from yourself. You see, life is like a roller coaster. You got different turns and different rides that you can go on. And one ride that I went on, it was in what's it called? In Branson, Missouri. I think it's called Branson, Missouri. Branson, Missouri. Yeah. So we went to the not the arcade, went to the carnival or something like that. And we got on this ride. And the ride took off backwards. Like I was expecting for the ride to go forward, go down the hill, go up the hill, and then go around and come back up, and then no, it went in reverse. So I wasn't expecting that. So when the ride went in reverse, I'm expecting to go forward. I went backwards. You see, many times in life you have to go forward to get back so you can know that you're doing something right. It's not the fact that you're doing something wrong. It's more so you have to take a step back to look at where you're going. And see, when we started the ride back, not only are we starting the ride backwards, it's going pretty fast, like we going forward. Slow motion is better than no motion, because when you move and you have motion. And so when you recognize how far you've come, and how you can grow, and how you've been developing. When you go backwards, it's only to help you push forward, because when the ride went back forward, we was like, oh, we can see where we going now. Many times in life, you just have to take a step back to know that you're going on the right path. You see, when you learn from the bad moments doesn't stay. They only stay when you make them stay. But they can change when you just take a step back. You see, today I had to take a step back and recognize that it's okay for things to go wrong. It's okay for things to mess up. It's okay for things not to work how they're supposed to work. And even though it's frustrating, even though I got frustrated, I had to learn that I'm on the right path. You see, many times in life we get so involved with the work, we don't pay attention with what's going on around us. And when you take a step back, you start to realize that things are actually coming together. I remember I got this 1,000-piece puzzle. First off, I don't even know what made me get the 1,000-piece puzzle. And yes I do. I saw it on somebody's story. And I asked them, I was like, so, a 1,000-piece puzzle, is it good? They was like, yeah, but don't get the 1,000-piece puzzle if you by yourself. I'm like, cool. So I go to the store and I'm looking for a puzzle. The only box that I see is a 1,000-piece puzzle. And I was told not to get the 1,000-piece puzzle because I was by myself. And I'm like, that don't mean nothing to me. So I got it anyways. And when I got the puzzle, I'm like, ooh, this gonna be good. When I got home and I cut the plastic off the box and I opened the box, put it on my table, it was so many small pieces because it's a 1,000-piece puzzle. I didn't know what 1,000-piece puzzles looked like, but until I opened it. And so when I looked at the box, I'm trying to look at the box and I'm trying to match the little pieces to the puzzle, but I can't find the pieces. So rather than me trying to figure it out, I said, I understand why you said don't get 1,000 pieces. I understand. Because you're going to be here all day trying to figure out one piece to this puzzle. And then as I'm sitting there, one day my brother came over. When he came over, he was like, man, you got a puzzle? I said, yeah, it's 1,000 pieces. I said, yeah, it's a lot of pieces, bro. That's too many. He said, man, you tripping. So the box wasn't even that big. It was like that big and that big, but with the pieces so small. He said, man, you good, bro. So we get the box, we get a poster, and we put the pieces on the poster. And so he was like, all right, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to work this corner right here. I'm going to work this corner, you work this corner at the top. I'm like, okay. So I get to looking for pieces that matches the color. So I'm looking for a specific color. I'm like, okay, now he gave me a way to do it. Like he guided me along the path. And so as I'm looking for one piece, he's already on his 10th piece. I said, I might be doing something wrong because I can't find the first piece. And so as he's putting his puzzle together, he's taking his time because he's looking at the picture. As I'm taking all day to look for one piece, one puzzle, one piece of the piece, one piece of the puzzle, I can't find it because I'm not paying attention to it. But the fact that my brother was able to do this puzzle, able to do his corner, able to do his part, it made me see like if he can do this part, why am I over here trying to do this corner? Let me just try to work with him. So I start finding pieces that were similar to the part that he was working on. Here's why this is important. When you start paying attention to what you're doing, how you are doing it might be incorrect because you don't know what you're doing. When you get around others that have a direction, that have a path, that have a plan, and they're working towards something, the bad moment when you don't know what you're doing can turn into a good moment when you go get around people that understand what they're doing. It wasn't the fact that I didn't fully understand. It was more so it was 1,000 pieces. But my brother knew what to do. I went to someone for guidance, and as in the puzzle, we was able to put the pieces together and get to maybe 100 pieces. And then we just stopped because it was 1,000 pieces. Like we just didn't even try to get the remaining 900. But we did do what I did learn at that moment. So even though you have no idea what you're doing, that's not the end of the world, because eventually you will learn what to do when you get around the right people that can show you what to do. When you learn from the bad moments is only a moment. Which means when you are frustrated, when you are drained, when you are overwhelmed, it's only for a moment. What you do with the moment determines your outcome. You see, the reason why this is so important because you are in control of how you feel. I was in control of how I felt, and I recognized, and when I was feeling something, it was because I didn't know something. It was because I didn't know something. Yes, we started to do the 1,000-piece puzzle, but I was told not to get the puzzle because it would be too much. See, many times in life, we put too many things on our plate, and as we try to carry the weight just continue to drop. And as we continue to try to hold the weight, we are punishing ourselves because the weight can't be held. And see, when you recognize why the weight ain't been holding, why the weight can't hold, you start to recognize that you're doing something incorrectly. What I paid attention to do is that I was doing things incorrectly because I was trying to figure things out by myself. I mean, when I was in the Marine Corps, and I remember when I was in the Marine Corps, and we had a bag. We had what's called a hiking backpack. So I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. I ain't never really been hiking like that. Like, I ain't sleeping outside. I'm not sleeping outside. And so when we got to the Marine Corps, we had a backpack. And the backpack, it was huge. I don't know how that much stuff fit in it, but it was huge. And so we used the backpack. It had what is it called? Sleeping mat. I think it's called sleeping mat. A sleeping mat. Then once we had the sleeping mat, we had like covers in there. We had clothes in there. We had food in there. So we had everything in one bag. And so when we start hiking and start doing it's a thing called the crucible. Like when you towards the end of the boot camp training, it's a crucial what is it called? It's a draining crucible. That's called. It's a draining crucible. And it's a 3-day event where you have to go do hiking, you have to do different events, and you only can have like a certain amount of food. And so we have this bag, and everything's in here, but we have to carry it on our backs. And as we're walking around the Marine Corps training, we going all over the place. We have to keep this bag on us. And I remember one time it was dark at night. We was going to the range. We had to get our bag and carry the rifle, but the rifle in the bag was heavy. You see, many times in life when you are carrying the weight becomes heavy. And when we got to the place, when we got to the location, it wasn't the fact that it was heavy. It was the fact that we had to hold it. It was the fact that we had to carry it. It was the fact that we had to manage it. Because when you are trying to manage the weight, when you're trying to hold the weight, when you're trying to carry the weight, you are draining yourself because it's weight that you're not expecting. I'm gonna read the comments right quick, and I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna read the comments. Can we talk about how to deal with the anxiety of the puzzle? That's where I struggle. Somebody say, can we talk about how to deal with the anxiety of the puzzle? That's where I struggle. Yeah, don't do it. Don't even do it. I'm just playing. I started with the 1,000-piece puzzle, and it was wrong because it was a lot of pieces in that puzzle. And so next time I did a puzzle, it was like 100 pieces. So it was a lot smaller, and the pieces of the puzzle was a lot bigger. And when I recognized the smaller amount of pieces equal a large amount of for the puzzle, it made it doable for the 100-piece because I was able to find the pictures that matches. So start small, then work your way up to like 1,000, whatever you want to go. But don't start at 1,000 because I'm telling you, you're gonna be stressed out. I was stressed out. I'm like, yeah, I can't even do it. See, when you learn from bad, I appreciate you for the comment. I'm going to say that wrong. I'm going to say that wrong. I know it's crazy when you see the name and you don't know how to pronounce it. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I appreciate the comment. Yeah. But when you learn from bad moments come because it's something that you have to learn how to work with. Bad baggage come because you have to learn how to carry the bad baggage. In order to start dropping the weight, in order to start managing the weight, in order to start paying attention to what you can carry, you have to recognize what you are carrying. And at the time, our bags, if you don't build your bag up correctly, it can hurt. It can really apply pressure to your shoulders, to your back in a way it's going to be uncomfortable. And so I was the unfortunate one that didn't know how to put the bag together. And so when I put the bag together, my back was hurting. I was exhausted. When I put the bag on, my shoulders just it went down because the weight was pulling me down. And so as I continue to try to adjust it, continue trying to make it tight, continue to use it or feel around it, it was a bad moment because I didn't know what I was doing. Then one day somebody came to lift up my bag. That was like, you know you got your bag upside down, right? I said, what you mean? He said, the little part that go on your bag, that's upside down. He said, do your back be hurt? I said, yeah. Do my back be hurt? Yeah. He said, that's why, because it's upside down. I said, oh. I said, how you fix it? He said, the same way you put it together. You see, many times in life, when you recognize the bad moment, how to fix the bad moment is that you have to start with where it started. You have to go with where it started because bad moments come from the beginning. So when I looked at the bag and I recognized what he was saying, I'm like, it's that simple to make my back stop hurting? So I switched the plate around and I put and I tied it down correctly and I made sure it was tight. When I put it on, it stayed up. I said, oh, there's something about guidance. You can be guided in the right way to improve the path that you are on, to know the thing that you're doing is right for you. Bad moments at the end of the world. Bad moments is the new beginning for you to grow. Because if everything was good, if everything was easy, if everything was stress-free, how can you grow? How can you develop? I had to recognize that even though I'm learning more about what I'm doing, I'm learning more about how I'm doing it because I continue to show up. There's a saying that say that the price has to be paid. What are you paying? You paying with time. I made a video a couple weeks ago about paying the price. You have to be willing to pay the price to know that the price that you're paying will come back to you in a way that's going to make you better. You see, you can't be better if you don't know how to get better. You can't get better if you don't know how to know better. Because to understand that bad moments come, you have to focus on the good. In the beginning of this video, I mentioned that this is a marketing video because everything that you do in business has to be tested, has to be looked at, and has to be studied. Because you have to look at numbers, you have to look at data, you have to look at what's working and what's not working. Excuse me. So the reason why this is a marketing video is because when you are putting yourself out there to the world, and you're communicating with the world, and you're communicating with strangers, as you are putting yourself out there, there's going to be things that you say that doesn't connect. There's going to be words that you mention that doesn't make sense. There's going to be phrases that you use that will make you lose some people. And even though you're putting yourself out there, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I remember a couple months ago, back in January of 2024, I attended this veterans business course called Action Zone. And when I attended this course, the first thing that they say is that when you have a business idea, when you have a business structure, or want to start a business, you have to go out to the public and start asking questions. You have to go start speaking to them. You have to identify the problem that you would like to solve. And at the time, I'm like, okay, that's no problem for me. So I go, at the time I was attending University of South Florida. I go and ask the students, when was the last time you used social media? They laughed and said just 2 minutes ago. I said, great. When you use social media, what was you looking for? Was you looking for entertainment, like education? Like, what was you looking for? I said, I just want to be entertained. I said, excellent. I said, while you was being entertained, how did you feel? They said, I felt good because I was entertained. Now, when I asked them 3 questions, it gave me one that they use. It gave me an indicator that they use social media. It gave me 2 that they want to be entertained. The third thing that they gave me is that they just want to have fun on the app. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I'm going to be in social media. Maybe I want to focus on social media. And then the next following class, I proceed to say, I spoken to some kids or some people on University of South Florida as I'm asking them questions about when the last time you used social media. And they told me like just 2 minutes ago. Like, what are you looking for in it? Just to be entertained. They said maybe your question needed to be changed because it helped you figure out what you was looking for. I said, I'm not sure because I don't know what I was looking for. They said, okay, no problem. So think of another question. Then when you think of another question, go ask the question and then come back and let us know. I said, okay. So I kept the first one. When was the last time you used social media? I kept that one. Then the next question that I asked was what is one thing that you learned from social media today? One guy said how to change a tire. I said, what? You learned how to change a tire? He said, yeah. I said, so what did you gain from this video? He said, I learned how to change a tire. I said, okay. I said, I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path. So social media can be used for educational purposes. Social media can be used to be learned with. But I wouldn't recognize that if they didn't tell me to go back and ask more questions. When they told me to go back and ask more questions, I learned the importance of questions because it taught me that what you ask matters. Because when you get an answer and response, it's based off the question that you're asking. So then I'm like, okay, so what does that actually mean? It means if you communicate to someone and you try to identify a problem, when you are putting yourself out there, the problem will reveal itself due to the fact that you asking questions and you speaking to others. When you are marketing yourself, you have to continue to speak to others because things, times, problem changes. And until you identify the type of problem you like to solve, then you have to keep speaking to people. The reason why this is so important because bad moments create great moments. Bad moments create great moments, and great moments come from bad moments. Because you have a chance to turn the failure into knowledge and recognize that this knowledge came from the failure. The reason why this is so important because you are able to grow, you are able to develop, you are able to learn because you can learn more about what you're doing. It's a skill that has to be developed. It's a skill that has to be improved. It's a skill that has to be worked on. So how do you work on a skill if you don't know the skill that you're working on? I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna read the comments right quick, then I'm gonna come back. One second, I'm gonna read the comments right quick, then I'm gonna come back. You see, the reason why marketing is so good, it's so important, is because you have a chance to get attention. You have a chance to get people awareness, and you have a chance to like really be out there. So the next point that I want to hit on is that you have to be out there with confidence. To be out there with confidence. Be out there with confidence. And where are you going? Beware. You have to be out in the public with confidence. You have to be in front of strangers with confidence. Because many times in life, you have to get around people that you don't know so you can grow more than you can ever imagine. But it's understanding that as you are doing this, you're doing this so you can develop for yourself and grow and turn the bad moments to something great. One thing that I learned is that life doesn't give you what you are not working for. Opportunities come when you are working for them to be present. When you discover how to go about doing this, not only will you discover it, you will learn that when you are confident within yourself, when you are confident within your words, when you are confident within the questions that you're asking, you continue to show up because you are improving by the day. You can improve by the day when you understand why you are improving. So I had to really understand that when I started half a decade ago, I was learning how to be good. I was learning how to be great. I was learning how to turn the bad moments to a good moment and to continue showing up. I was going to continue to show up no matter what because I knew showing up mattered the most. It mattered the most to me because I was able to show up even more. Reason why that's so difficult to do, because how do you show up when nothing's coming for you? How do you show up when nothing's coming to you? After producing 893 podcast episodes, I had to learn that when you show up, you're gaining confidence and you're building momentum and you're learning more about yourself. As I was producing so much and creating so many different videos, so many different topics, so many different audio versions of podcasting, I'm learning how to create. I'm learning how to be consistent. I'm learning how to bring value. And at the time, I didn't know it was called a podcast nor value. I just thought I wanted to help people become the best version of themselves. And it's so challenging because now when you identify what you would like to do and how you like to go about doing it, when you are marketing yourself, you have to know to market yourself. You have to market yourself accordingly to the people who's willing to listen to you. Because many times in life, who you are speaking to matters the most because it's the ones that you impact the most that'll be listening to you even more. It's not the fact that what you are doing is incorrect. What you are doing is that you are putting yourself out there. And when I learned I was putting myself out there to make a difference, my goal became stronger. My purpose became purposeful. And my meaning was that I was following my passion. I was following my passion so much, I continued to follow my passion. Because I know my passion is going to lead me down a direction that I'm not expecting. As it's leading me down a direction that I'm not expecting, life is going to show you that you are able to grow and develop once you're able to be out there confidently. I remember my first video when I made while missing my tooth. When I made the video missing my tooth, I got on camera and I was talking. I got on camera and I was presenting myself. Got on camera and I was delivering the message. And as I was speaking, I learned how to cover my mouth so you didn't see the missing tooth. And looking back at it, I'm like, man, I look crazy. I should have just talked. But I didn't have confidence to talk confidently. And so even though I was producing, I was creating, I was recording videos, I wasn't showing up because I wasn't showing up confidently. And I learned the importance of confidence is because people can feel your confidence through the phone. People can feel your confidence while you're in the room. People can feel your confidence when you step in the room. It's gaining the confidence to be in the room, to know that you're in the room for the reason, for the right reason. What stops a lot of people is self-doubt, is self-talk, is negative talk about oneself. How do you improve? How do you get better if the bad moments is stopping you from growing? How do you develop if the bad moments are saying that you are doing something incorrectly? Because no one is saying that you're doing something right. I had to learn that me being isolated taught me the way of teamwork, building, working with others, because I had to learn more about myself first, so I can recognize the type of value I bring to others. When you are marketing yourself, you have to recognize the value that you bring to others, so you can help others along their path. When I started my journey half a decade ago, I wanted to help others without helping myself. And I didn't recognize that there was a downfall because I care so much about people. I wanted to see them win. I want to see them grow. I want to see them establish. I want to see them develop. And the missing blueprint in that is that I was gaining success for myself. But since I didn't have the success, I was speaking on things that I wanted to be around and that I wanted to understand. It taught me that when you are building confidence, you have to build confidence embarrassingly. Because you can't be great when you start. You can't be good when you are starting something new. Because what happens oftentimes in life is that in order to be great, you have to be willing to practice. Babe Ruth was a baseball player, was a phenomenal baseball player. And one game, he struck out. And the reporter comes and asks him, he say, Babe Ruth, what you think about striking out so many times? He mentioned, I'm only worried about the next ball when I hit. I'm worried about the next ball that I hit so it can go out the park, so it can go in the stadium, so it can be a home run. Many times in life, you just have to get on base to know that you're doing something right. You don't have to hit a home run. You just have to hit the ball enough so you can get on base. Because when you're on base, you're safe. You see, when you build in confidence, you have to collect small wins. Getting on base is a small win because you go from first base to second base to third base, and then back to home base. But first, you have to go to the first one. And when you go to the first base, then you go to the second one. When you go to the second base and you're ready for the third base, you have to wait because now you're waiting on someone to get there. The reason why you have to wait for someone to get to the first base is because there has to be a rotation. It has to be a rotation. And then when you get to the third base, now you have one more base to go. Many times in life, when you get to third base, you get out because you quit on yourself. You stop showing up because it's hard. You stop being present because you don't see no results. And then when you did all that work just to get to third base, then once you get to third base, you want to throw in the towel. You see, when I got to third base, I wanted to throw in the towel because I was burnt out. I wanted to throw in the towel because of results. I wasn't seeing results. I wasn't seeing no one respond to what I was saying. I wanted to throw in the towel. And the towel was so heavy, I never threw it in. When I was marketing myself, I was learning how to be confident because even though times are hard, even though moments can be stressful, even though I had no idea what I was doing, I was holding on to the towel because I didn't want to throw in the towel and give up on myself. I wanted to hold the towel, and since I'm holding this towel, I want to use this towel to get home. So then when the next batter comes up and he hit the ball, as he hitting the ball, I now go home. But now I'm going home with confidence because I just scored. So you gotta score. You gotta collect small wins to score. The first win is the best win because it helps you get the next win. You see, building confidence, being out there with confidence is a challenge. Because how do you know you're doing something right? How do you know what you are doing is made for you? And how do you know that the work that you are doing is impacting others? I learned that my work was impacting others because I kept showing up. You see, I'm learning about the Bible right now. I'm reading different stories, different scriptures on it. And as I'm reading it with an open mind because I just want to learn like what this Bible even is. Why I got so many scriptures. Why I have so many stories. You see, Jesus was someone who collected small wins and turned the small wins into massive wins because now he's known around the world. Now he's bringing faith around the world. Now he's encouraging the world. Now he's the main topic being spoken about. For those who understand Christ, is that Jesus had to go through some stuff. Jesus had to go through bad moments. And he had to go through difficult situations to know that you can be okay. I remember when I was in Southern California, I went to this church. And on the wall, it was kind of like a movie. On the wall, it had crutches, like the crutches that you use to walk in life. It had the crutches that you put underneath the arms. It had the crutch that you push. It had the crutch, the cane that you can use. It had different variations of the different crutches that people can use. And so when someone had a lower back issue and he was walking like this, like he was walking forward with the cane, and as he's walking forward with the cane, he's walking because his back is hurt. And so he walked to the altar and he walked to the front of the church and he say, for those of you who has pain, for those of you who's feeling some type of stress, for those of you who's worried about the ache in your neck, come up here, we gonna pray for you. And so people started coming up to the altar to get prayed for. And there was this one guy that was walking with his back hurt, with his back leaning, and he was walking on a cane. As he's walking on a cane, walking to the front, there are three gentlemen start praying over him. Start praying over him to be okay, to be healthy, to have faith. And so they start praying around him, they start praying for him, they start praying with them. And then once they got done praying, miraculously, he started walking okay. And then I saw that with my own eyes. I'm like, man, what just happened? He just walked up there with a limp. He just walked up there with his back hurt. He just walked up there with an issue. You see, many times in life, we use crutches as an excuse because bad moments only come for the moment. And so when he was able to walk away normal and like nothing even happened, I'm confused. I'm like, what just happened? So I asked the guy that was next to me, he's older. So I asked him, I say, when people get prayed for, what are they looking for? Are they looking for faith? Are they looking for guidance? Are they looking for direction? And he proceeds to say, it depends on the issue. It depends on the bad moment. It depends. So I'm like, okay, it depends. So how was this gentleman able to walk away without having no pain? He said because the preacher instilled faith in him and he started to believe that he can be okay. You see, that's when I knew Jesus was cold. I said Jesus was good. Let me tell you why. Because he's helping people have faith. He's helping people have faith to know that when you go through a bad moment, the moment that you go through is not the worst. It's not the end of the day. It's not the worst of the day. It's the day that's going to make you be better. I said, oh, Jesus was cold. I said, how did he know? How did he know that it will work for him? Many times in life, we don't know it will work for us. But we have to do it anyways with open hearts and open minds and an open consciousness because it will show that we are on the right path. You see, one thing that helps a lot of people is that when bad moments come, we don't sit in the misery. When the bad moments come, we don't say, oh, I'm doing bad, I'm doing horrible. Just recognize that it's a bad moment. I'm going to read the comments right quick. And then I'm going to come back. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you come in and engage with the topic at hand. So, it's difficult to know that when you are doing something, when you are working on something, when you are improving yourself, you are getting better over time. You just have to build confidence within yourself. Oh, I remember I was young. We went to this Fellowship of Christian Athletes program. And this program, we was in like the ceremony, what is called the union, like in a church, but they got the seats in there, so now we're just sitting down. And so as I'm in the church, and they start to say like, okay, so who want to come on stage and talk? Who want to come on stage? Who want to share a story? So I'm in the audience at the time, and we just sitting there. And I believe I raised my hand. When I raised my hand, they said, okay, come on, young man, come up here and talk. I said, okay, look good to me. So I went on stage, and I waited my turn. So as I'm in stage, as I'm on stage in front of the audience, I'm just there trying to figure out what I was going to say. And so he said, what's your name, young man? I said, my name is Terryl Humphrey. Or I think I just said Terrell. Or Terrell. I think I just said Terrell. And he said, so what seems to be the issue, young man? And I say, my dad went in my life, but I'm grateful to have my mother. I'm trying to put the words together, and as I'm putting the words together, I grab the microphone and I start speaking to it. I speak in the microphone, and as I'm speaking to the microphone, I'm a kid, I'm young, I'm afraid. But I'm doing it to build my confidence. I'm doing it because I was just moved to say something. And what I didn't recognize is that I would be speaking on stages in front of people today. It's not about what you go through. It's about what you are growing through to know that your experiences is building you up for your future. So when I got the microphone when I was young, I got up and I spoke in front of people. Even though I was nervous and was worried about the people that was in the audience, I had a message to say. Because I wanted to deliver meaning. You see, starting a podcast helped me discover the value that I can have within myself, because I recognize the meaning of it. See, Failures Knowledge Podcast is the podcast to help you become the best version of yourself. How can you become the best version of yourself if you're not willing to learn how to be the best version of yourself? But first, you have to try. You have to try to put yourself out there. Because to build confidence, it doesn't come from just reading a book. It doesn't come from not being in front of people. It doesn't come from just sitting in the audience. What happens is that at some point, the light is going to be shining upon you. And when the light is shining upon you, how do you use this opportunity to share your message? Podcasting gave me a different outlook of life, because it showed me that when you have a bad moment, you're not the only one that's going through the bad moment, but you're the only one that can speak up about it. You are the only one that can speak up about it, because you have a voice that you can share with others to say that you are on the right path. You just got to keep going. Excuse me. You are on the right path. Just don't question what you're doing. You see, podcasting is a thing because they help others learn more about themselves. I started to focus on podcasting and really let go of all the things that I was trying to juggle because I recognized that I couldn't juggle everything all at once. I wanted to do real estate wholesale. I wasn't good at it. I wanted to do surplus funds. Wasn't good at it. I wanted to do cooking videos. Wasn't good at it. Wanted to sell t-shirts. Wasn't good at it. I wanted to wash cars. Wasn't good at it. I wanted to do so many things. And it got to a point when I was doing so many things, I wasn't doing anything. You see, because I was stretching myself too thin. The last one I want to hit on is that don't stretch. Hello, it is to stretch yourself too thin so you can know how not to stretch yourself too thin. Learn your boundaries. In other words, learn boundaries. Not boundaries. Learn what's working. Learn from bad moments. Learn what's working. What's working. Learn what's working. See, marketing is a thing where you have to do it every single day. Marketing is a thing where you have to continue to put yourself out there. Marketing is a thing that does never dies because it only increases by the value that you show up with. What I've learned by just being consistent along the process, being consistent along myself, being consistent with the journey, is that the journey is teach me on how to bring more value. Because not only am I bringing value, I'm learning how to understand the value that I can bring. So a couple weeks ago, actually 3 weeks precisely, I started a 90-day challenge to make $100,000. And currently on this day, I'm on day 19. I have to make 3 additional videos just explaining what all has been going on. And so before I decided to do the challenge, I didn't know why I should do the challenge. Like, I didn't see the value of it. I didn't see the importance of it. I watched this video with this dude named Mr. Grateful, and he was helping people learn more about artificial intelligence. And so when he started talking in the podcast, he started explaining, like, he started a challenge so he can grow more awareness, so he can have more followers, so he can have more people follow him. He got to explaining, like, he was at a breaking point when he didn't know or couldn't have business because didn't nobody know who he was. At the time, he had maybe 5,000 followers. And prior to the challenge, he was like, okay, I'm only going to focus on getting the followers, building the followers up. And then after I get the followers, he can focus on making money. And at the time, I'm like, okay, that seemed like a good idea. If he can do it, I can do it as well. I always say, if the next person can do it, I can do it as well. And so I'm listening to the podcast, and he's helping people start using AI for their business. And so when I'm listening to the podcast, he's sharing different topics, he's sharing different stories. And he said, I was at a breaking point. He was at a bad moment, and he turned the bad moment into a good moment. And he got to explain how he turned the bad moment to a good moment because he was able to identify where he would like to go. And so he got to explain it further on the type of work that he was doing, and he was using artificial intelligence to improve his content creation presence, or to improve his social media presence. And so when he was focused on improving his social media presence by increasing the number of followers that he has, he was saying that it was a journey to get here because he was at a breaking point. At some point, our breaking point come. We just don't know that it's coming because it sneaks up upon us. What I had to learn is that life is going to show you when you are preparing for your future, life is going to knock you down. It's going to knock you down so many times. What do you do when you get knocked down? And so in the podcast episode, he was just explaining that when he got at his breaking point and he started to figure out what he wanted to do, why he wanted to do it, and how he can go about doing it, he started creating different videos on topics around artificial intelligence. And today he's one of the leading people that talk about artificial intelligence. What I learned from this interview is that if he can do it afraid, if he can be and have success, I can be and do and become successful. Because it starts with myself. And to make an impact, I have to be willing to impact myself. Because now I understand the struggle. Now I understand the language. Now I understand the problems. And the problems is something that's going to encourage you to keep going. You're going to always run into bad things. But when the bad things come, what are you doing with them? How are you growing? How are you developing? How are you evolving? Like, how do you understand that the bad moment is only here to help you grow? The bad moment is only here to say that you are on the right path. Because everything can't be going good. Everything can't be good because everything is not good. I remember when I was driving a 2009 Chrysler 300. And one day I went to go see my brother who was in San Diego, California. And so I went to go drive my 2009 Chrysler 300 down there, and it did good for that moment. When I drove my car down to San Diego, spent time with my twin brother, then once I left, I drove back to where I was staying at. In the middle of my drive, my car stopped working, so I had to pull over to the side. And at the time, when my car stopped working, I didn't know what to do about it. So I just sat there and I waited for the tow truck to come. So as I'm sitting here waiting for the tow truck to come, it's taking all day. My car is not starting. The heat is off and it's cold outside. So as I'm sitting there freezing, I put my arms in my shirt and I'm like, I'm just going to wait until the tow truck comes. The tow truck never came, but police officers came. And so when they knocked on the door, knocked on the window, they say, what seems to be the problem? I say, officer, my car just stopped working, so I don't know what to do. He said, have you tried to jump it? I said, I don't have nothing to jump it with. He said, don't worry, we got a truck right. We got our truck right here. We can just plug it into yours and see if it works. He proceeds to plug the cables into his car and then jump my car, but it wasn't jumping. You see, when you have bad moments, you just can't get back up so quickly. You have to sit in it to learn from it. And he said, yeah, man, like it don't seem like it's working. Would you like for us to call a tow truck? I said, yeah, please. Because it's cold outside. You see, when you have a bad moment, everything around you stop working. Everything around you isn't good. Everything around you is the problem. And it's only for a moment because eventually it will start working. So soon the tow truck came. When the tow truck came, the tow truck put the 2009 Chrysler 300 onto the back of the truck. And I got in the tow truck. As I'm in the tow truck and I'm just sitting. And I'm like, man, this could have been worse. I said, even though he took all day, he came in due time. And in due time, I'm able to get back home safely. You see, I couldn't call my twin brother because he had duty the following day. He had a 24-hour shift the next day. So I couldn't call him because I said, man, I want you to get some rest. Everything's going to be okay. I'll let you know when I get home. And so when the tow truck came and he put the 2009 Chrysler 300 onto the tow truck, I'm in the car. And as I'm in the tow truck, the passenger seat, I feel some heat. You see, this bad moment that was cold, that was freezing, and that everything would stop working. This one moment, this one chance, one opportunity came when I sat in the passenger seat and I started to feel some heat. I wasn't cold no more. I wasn't in a bad moment no more because I was able to go to the next situation. You see, if you stay in your bad moments, if you stay in the bad moments and those don't learn from them, the bad moments will continue to happen because it's something that you're thinking about. It's something that you're imagining. It's something that you're dreaming about. It's something that you're focusing on because it has your focus because nothing is going right. Just because nothing is going right doesn't mean it's bad for you. I had to learn that when nothing goes right for me, there's a lesson here. So what is the lesson that I need to learn? I'm always looking for a lesson. I'm always looking to grow. I'm always looking to develop. Because I don't let bad moments dictate my day. It's a moment. Just like a second is a second. A minute is a minute. An hour is an hour. And a day is a day. If I have one bad second, that doesn't mean that the rest of my 24 hours is ruined. If I have one bad minute, doesn't mean the remainder of the 60 minutes is ruined for the rest of my day. Just because I have a bad hour doesn't mean the next 24 hours is bad. Just because I have a bad day doesn't mean the next following 7 days is going to be bad. You see, it's all about perspective. How do you change what you look and how you look at bad to know that bad is only here for a moment? Not for the rest of your life. It will show up differently, but for the moment, it will show up differently every single time. Because what happens is that you have to learn from bad things. When you learn from when bad things happens, it's not the end of the world. It's something that has to be learned, because you can learn from bad moments. When you learn from bad moments, you have to identify the moments that you are in. And once you do this, you have to be out there confident. Like, be out there with confidence. You have to build your confidence up in the misery, at your lowest point, because at some time in life, your lowest point will be your highest point, because the lowest point will help others. And once you do this, you learn what's working. And you keep doing it, and you keep marketing it, and you keep showing up, and you keep evolving, because eventually someone would like to learn from what you have been through and how you grew from it. And if you got value from this, make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway from this video on how bad things happen to you, or if they happen to you, what is the biggest takeaway from bad things happening in your life? I appreciate y'all, then I'll see y'all next time.